The Spengler family returns to the iconic New York City firehouse where the original Ghostbusters have taken ghostbusting to the next level. When the discovery of an ancient artifact unleashes an evil force, Ghostbusters new and old must unite to protect their home and save the world from a second ice age. This movie is directed by Gil Kenan. I grew up loving the original Ghostbusters movie, and I also enjoyed Afterlife. I thought it was a fun legacy sequel that leaned into the nostalgia maybe a little too much, but I was still excited to see it get a sequel. But I left this movie kind of indifferent. I thought it was just fine. I think it's a fun watch for the most part. I respect the movie because it actually tried to do new things with the franchise instead of just really leaning into pure nostalgia again. But a lot of the new stuff is kind of underdeveloped and underwhelming. The ideas themselves are cool, but I think the movie just put way too much stuff on its plate. It's juggling a lot of characters and a lot of ideas. If you're interested in this movie for the legacy characters, you're probably going to be disappointed. The only original character that got a decent amount of screen time is Ray, played by Dan Aykroyd. I think he's great in the movie. Him and Bill Murray are my two favorite characters from the original movies, so it was cool to see him actually have a decent role this time around. But basically all of Bill Murray's scenes are in the trailer, which is just insanely disappointing for me. I think Bill Murray honestly has less than 5 minutes of screen time in this entire film. I do like the direction they took Ernie Hudson's character, Winston, but again, he's kind of just left on the sideline, even though his scenes are some of the biggest standouts of the movie for me. But the OGs aren't the only ones on the sideline. Finn Wolfhard is right there with them. I was pretty shocked by how completely insignificant his character is to the entire movie. He basically does nothing except have like the Slimer cameo that's shown in the trailer. He just got completely wasted in this movie. McKenna Grace did a great job as Phoebe again. She's basically like the new face of the franchise. I just feel like for how smart her character is, she kind of makes some like uncharacteristically dumb decisions in the movie, which kind of was like taking me out a little bit while watching it. But the standout of the movie for me was definitely Paul Rudd. He's not in the movie as much as I wanted him to be or expected him to be, but he's got some of the best jokes in the movie. And I mean, he's Paul fucking Rudd, man. Who doesn't love Paul Rudd? He's awesome. I also enjoyed Kumail Nanjiani. The whole character archetype he plays in this movie is pretty funny to me. I enjoyed it. I will say though, some of the writing in this movie just isn't the greatest. It's a little cheesy and some of the jokes are kind of like, but you know, it kind of just, it is what it is. And because the writing isn't the greatest and the movie is a little messy with all the different plot points it's juggling, the movie does feel like kind of like hollow to me at times. Like I found it pretty hard to connect to some of the different storylines and characters at times just because like everything's just kind of half baked. I wish we could just like really zeroed in on a couple of the ideas and a couple of the characters and just really fleshed out some of the story points instead of just trying to cram a whole bunch of stuff and nothing really gets its due. I do think the movie looks pretty good though. Most of the effects are decent, and obviously the most important thing is that the ghosts look cool and they look pretty solid. Nothing mind-blowing, but I do think the main villain of the movie looks pretty dope. But yet again, I just wish there was more of him in the movie. They spend most of the movie just kind of building him up, and then when he shows up, he's just kind of there for 10 minutes and then that's it. And I know it sounds like I basically said nothing good about this movie, but I did have a fun time while watching it. And I think really that's just because I love the first Ghostbusters movie so much. It was a big part of my childhood, so just being back in the universe just kind of, you know, it makes me happy. Like seeing them drive around in the Ecto-1, and the music in the movie is great. There's a lot of like music cues from the first movie. Like I think the nostalgia keys and member berries that they choose to use in this movie work well. They're not like overdone even though they're there. With that being said though, I don't know if this movie will work better for fans of the franchise or non-fans of the franchise, because fans are going in with expectations, and I was a little disappointed by this movie. But because I like the world, I still found some enjoyment in it. But maybe if you're not attached to it at all, you'll kind of just go in and have a fun time with the movie. I'm not really sure. Overall, Ghostbusters Frozen Empire is fine. Everything in the movie is just kind of middle of the road. If you're a fan of the franchise, there's fun to be had, but it's nothing too crazy. Ghostbusters Frozen Empire is clocking in at a 65% on the Bravo barometer. Like I said, I am disappointed with this movie. I thought they set up a pretty good foundation with Afterlife, but this movie just kind of exists. I don't really feel like it built off anything. It just is kind of another movie that happened. But it'll be interesting to see how this movie performs and if we'll get another sequel or not. Because I have to admit, hearing the Ghostbusters theme in the theater does go kind of hard. It slaps.
I ain't afraid of no ghosts.
But those are just my opinions. Let me know what you thought of the movie and my review in the comments below. And don't forget to like and subscribe for more reviews and streams coming very soon. And as always, I appreciate you guys for tuning in. I hope you guys have a great rest of your day, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace out, everybody.